Hello, 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 guys and gals, the non-binary pals. Welcome to another Minecraft. Today, we're gonna be working on the Quartz Castle. Man, my brain trying to remember the types of materials I'm using for each of my castles is bad. Today we're going to be working on flattening the area for the Quartz Castle over there. And we will try and adjust as things go along. The last time we were on the server, we worked on going caving and exploring the caves underneath those three castles. And then I started smelting up some of them, some of the materials. I believe we're done now, yeah. There's nothing else in the blast furnace, so yeah, this is all the goods we acquired at the end. So all in all, not a bad haul from just one round of exploring. This looks like it's nearly two stacks of blocks of copper, so not terrible. And then we've got enough for a bit of a block-ish of gold. I think this ends up being 21 if I'm separating them out correctly. And then iron. At least 2/3 of a stack, it looks like. But we're gonna go over there to where the Quartz Castle is, and we're gonna remove the dirt and start working on getting everything down to y = 90 over there. I just need to grab the bed from the nether brick castle as well as the chests that are inside the chest over there, and then we will start tearing down that part of the castle. The whole project in general, flattening everything and getting all of it to work, is actually going quite well. I'm just needing to finish tearing all of this down to the same level to get to... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I was just trying to pick it up. I just need to finish tearing this down and removing all of this stone to get to the level where the Deep Slate Castle is over there. Where did I put the... Trying to remember where I put the chests. I might have moved them to the inside one when I started trying to go for the inner workings of the castle. I do like this being the ladder instead of an actual ladder, but I probably need to put string on top. Yeah, there's my chests. I probably need to put a piece of string on top so that they kind of stop growing into the sky. It is kind of interesting to see how tall they'll get, though. But, yeah. So, like, we've still got quite a bit of mining on this part of the, like, terraforming area to go through. But that's besides the point. I have diorite on me to help me map out where I need to go lengthwise for the castle, because I don't have all of the external 4 spires built out yet. I wanted to make sure I actually had all of the spacing correct when I go to mine, just to make sure that I'm going the whole distance that I need. But we're gonna have to tear down quite a bit of this mountain here as well, even though it's kind of just barely connected to this part of the castle, it's going to need to get torn down eventually. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this is the diagonal. So that means that this is 1 off. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is where that actually starts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Alright, so that makes it real easy. Makes it really easy to figure out all the external things. So I need to destroy up to here. This is all the dirt. Okay, so we go from that. And then I go all the way over to here. Okay, this is the line going up. Okay. I think that's too far. Yeah, that's too far. Okay. Trying to make sure that these actually line up with each other. Okay. Although I'm probably going to have to tear down quite a bit of that area. Alright. And this will just get torn down to y equals 90. Which is way lower than I realized. Three, 92, 91, 90. Okay. So that is the outer extremities of the castle that we are currently going to chop down to. We're going to get rid of all this dirt. And then we'll drag this down to y equals 90, which I believe this, yeah, this is too tall right now anyways. But we will drop all of that down, which includes opening up this cave system quite a lot more than it currently is. I'm gonna grab that bed. I guess I can't really grab that bed yet. There we go. Alright, for right now, we put the bed here. I should have scroll wheeled the other way. And then this gets to have the diorite that I would like to use for the walls. And everything else is dirt. And we'll just place these like that. And then for right now, this will all be dirt. And that's what we're going to do for the next little while. Because for the most part, this section isn't going to matter. Because that right there is the edge, is the last straight edge of the main castle, which just means that I'm going pretty much until the end of this mountainous area. Let's see if I can angle this right. This is connected there, which means that I need to go to here. So I need to get in line with that. This is one too far. So this is about the edge that I am mining up to. If I am looking at it correctly. But even then, I don't think that that lines up with this. I think I started that too far as well, but that's okay. Yeah, so we're just going to tear down all of this grass and dirt. And we're just going to go until the shovel starts running low on durability. Okay, so this is going to be the line. Oh, and there's gravel. Of course there is. There's more diorite, which is actually nice. Alrighty. Whoop, too far. That's okay. This is the line. So I need to go here. this is the line here. This is still 73. Hello. I don't know when you said hi, but I say hello now. This is 73. This gets chopped away. This does not. Let's just see. How high is 90 from here? This is the height I am working at. Which means all of this needs to get put back anyways. Okay. Wow. Pillaring up like this actually tells me how wide this will need to go. Because this will cut into the water by quite a bit, because I still have to put the angled area over there. Okay. Let's mine my way back up. That almost worked. There we go. Alrighty. You know, while I'm here, let's just drop off all the dirt. I think this might be the quickest flattening project we've had, simply because of how much open air is also part of it. So that'll be really nice. Because there's a giant gap here that's open air, and then the mountain ends before this section over here. So like all of this space is also open air, so I don't have to worry about it as much with tearing all the dirt down. So it just makes this really simple in some parts. Alright. Oh yeah, I need actual space to hold this stone. I guess it's not stone I really want, it's the diorite I really want. Okay, so I don't need that. So this is y equals 90. I just need to tear apart this direction. Okay. There's gravel there. Whoops. I mean, all the gravel ended up being inside the zone that I needed to tear down anyways. I'm purposely trying to collect all of the dirt because I already know that I need to raise this section up and terraform it to make it look like it's still supposed to be there. So just all the dirt I can get is actually going to be really helpful. So tearing it all down makes an amount of sense because I still need to pick up all the dirt. Up equals 90. This is y equals 90, isn't it? Yes, this is 90. There's another cave system inside of this. Okay. Cool, where did I stop with this? Over here. Let's go up this way then. You might be able to hear the geese outside. They're rather noisy right now. I don't actually know how good or bad the microphone is at picking up other sounds. Like, I don't actually know if it can even, well, it probably can, but I don't actually know if it can pick up, like, when I sneeze or anything. Because I've never actually, like, tried to figure that out. I'm assuming this is all just gravel in there, or was in the past. Pick up as much of this dirt as possible. One stream related thing that I want to say is that I should, if everything's going correctly and is working with mail system, I should be able to provide better streams with at least Steam games in the coming weeks, assuming I can figure out how to use a capture card. Because I don't want to change all the settings and go to a completely new system. I should probably avoid mining up here for the time being and just work my way down. But essentially some of my coworkers were wanting me to play a game with them, but I don't have a good system, or like this computer cannot run games very well. If you have noticed at all in any of the streams, that sometimes things lag a lot, even though I've done the absolute best I can to make that not happen. It still does frequently. Even when I've done everything that I'm aware of to stop it, it still happens. But they were, I guess it kind of peer pressuring, but trying to get me to get a console system that I can then just use a capture card to utilize to record. So that will be happening sometime next week, hopefully. The console system I got should arrive within the next few days. So hopefully I'll be able to stream games a bit more and at higher quality than I currently do. It does technically mean that I could remove every single game from my computer except for Minecraft and try to stream Genshin Impact again. Genshin was just one of those ginormous games that took up a lot of space, and so when I went to start trying to stream other games, and I kind of stopped playing Genshin, it was just easier to tear down all of Genshin's internal files from my computer. But assuming everything works with the capture card, and I'm I'm actually able to get that to work for streaming, then I might just be able to start streaming Genshin Impact on my computer, because I can give all of that storage space that I gave up to Genshin back to Genshin. Like, essentially by deleting Genshin from my computer, I got 7 or 8 more games to be able to play and stream on here. Some of them I don't even play that frequently anymore. But it'll let me, with the capture card and the system, I should still be able to play the same games, but hopefully they'll run a bit smoother and there won't be as much lag. I don't know how well my computer's going to handle trying to utilize a capture card for streaming, but that is the current plan in the coming weeks, is to try to figure that out. Instead of being vague about it, I can just say it. I got a Steam Deck that should be in the mail and should be arriving like either, so it said 3 to 5 business days, so either today is day 3, because I ordered it on Sunday. Today is day 3 of business days, so it's either going to arrive sometime today or sometime by Friday. And like the mail carrier tends to arrive, or tends to leave after delivering mail, as of like close to 30-ish minutes ago. So like as soon as I end the stream, I'm gonna go check the mail, see if it came in today. Otherwise, I will assume that it will come in tomorrow or Friday. But it will allow me to play Age of Mythology, Age of Empires, Civilization games. It'll allow me to play all of those just at a higher quality. It'll also let me play like Marvel Rivals, hopefully. Like, I wanted to play that when it came out. Marvel Rivals, that is. But I could play through the like tutorial levels, but anytime I tried to load an actual game with people, even if it was against the AI to figure out just how the maps look and whatnot, I could not do that. The loading sequence into the game did not work. Like, I could hear all the sounds of the game loading, and I could do pretty much all of that. Like, I could get everything to work to it loading, but then it would get stuck at like 90%. It would never load past that into the game. Except for once. I had one game where I was able to walk around a little bit, and then we lost because I was inactive for most of the game. It's like I've had one singular game that I've actively been able to play. So like, I want to play the game because I like superheroes a lot. But especially Marvel. But I was never able to get it to work. So now, if everything goes to plan, I should be able to actually play the game and stream it. Which is really what I want to do. I want to play the game and also stream it, which is the whole reason to get a capture card and whatnot. Because for the most part, I can play a bunch of games off camera and be fine. Like, for instance, I've been able to play Age of Mythology and Age of Empires with no lag. Well, maybe not no lag, but very, very little lag until there's like hundreds of troops trying to fight all at once. Or me doing like 20 spammed orders ahead of time. Those are the only times that I really get lag anymore, when I'm just playing by myself. But whenever the stream is going, I could do the simplest thing and it lags like crazy. So this is y equals 100. Okay, so I still need to go down 10 more. But like, so that's the fun difference between trying to stream the game and trying to just play the game. I did get some of the expansion, or the new Chronicles DLC on Age of Empires, and I want to stream it, but I also don't know if it'll actually take very well. I also want to finish all of the India campaigns first, because I find just history that kind of correlates with people I know to be a lot more interesting. Like, one of the workers is from Poland, and so I played the Poland and Lithuanian campaign with Jadwiga and Jogaila because I wanted to know more about their history, because that's just cool to me. And then a bunch of the employees at my work are Indians, so being able to go through and play all 3 Dynasties of India campaigns and like get to know their history that like you don't really get taught in American schools. Like, most Indian history in America schools are just like, hey, this is what happened during colonization, this is who Gandhi is, and different ways that people resisted colonization and imperialism. But they don't tell you about, like, hey, in the 800s in India, there was this guy named Rajendra of the Chola Empire, or Chola dynasty, and like, this is what he did, and this is what Devapala did, and things like that. I think Rajendra was around 1000, and Devapala was the 800s guy. So I think I have those backwards, but Rajendra was the first Rajendra's the one we're currently playing. Devapala's the first campaign we played, which I went in chronological order. So yeah, Devapala came first. But like, America schools don't teach you about Indian history. So like, that's kind of one of the fun things for playing games that are a lot more historical. Maybe not the most historical, but a lot more historical. Like, when we played the Incas and the Mayans campaigns, not all of that was historical facts. It was based in historical facts, but they changed a bit of stuff. Like, the Aztec campaign, you win the fight in order to win the campaign. You win the fight against the Spanish, when in actuality the Spanish win the fight and take over. So like, it's a lot more rare for Age of Empires to change history like that. But they also can't get every single thing correct, and if you only base your knowledge off of Age of Empires, you're not going to be completely historically correct anyways, because in my campaign of this, I was able to amass an army and go fight this guy and easily overwhelm him, but in actuality it was a very bloody conflict, and they were able to surpass the army that we had built a lot easier because of such and such factor that the game just cannot have. Or it's like the game will show that you won, but in eventuality and actuality, it wasn't that you won a very flawless and easy victory. It was that the actual people who fought, it was so costly that no one seemingly won the battle. Like things like that Age of Empires just can't convey in the same way that actual history does. Like American Civil War history that I like a lot more than most other histories, partly just because of the background I come from, but partly just because that's the focus I had in college. There's a lot of you could build a campaign based off the American Civil War, and there's a lot of fights that are like, okay, well, we won, but we're not chasing after this guy because did we really win? We lost about the same number of troops, or even lost more troops or whatever, but people just didn't want to keep going. Or I know American Revolution, pretty much any time it came around to being holidays, especially Christmas, it was rare to have a fight during Christmas time. But it was George Washington crossing the Delaware and attacking the Germans who were celebrating Christmas that kind of just went, whoa, you don't have to wait for international holidays to fight. That was one of the first main instances of, hey, just because you're celebrating doesn't mean we have to celebrate. We're going to attack you. It's your holiday. I mean, also Christmas wasn't as much of a capitalistic endeavor back in the 1700s as it is nowadays, but that's a different point. And that gets into a lot more poli-sci stuff. It's becoming night, just let me sleep. I started falling and it let me sleep still, okay. But yeah, George Washington attacking the German soldiers in New Jersey, crossing the Delaware Christmas Eve and attacking on Christmas Day was very unprecedented. Most people would go, oh, it's Christmas, let's not fight. Even in World War I, when it was trench warfare, there were frequently, and I mean very frequently, just days of, hey, we're gonna stop firing at each other and just do nothing. December 25th, Germans and British troops and French troops all basically had a party in the middle of no man's land to celebrate Christmas, and then the very next day we're shooting at each other again. This is all to say that I like history. and that some games show correct-ish histories, but obviously can't show everything correctly. So, like, I'm assuming that Age of Empires 3 is a lot more like the colonization, guns and things. And I'm assuming that during the, like, if there is an American Revolution campaign, I don't actually know if there is. I haven't played Age of Empires 3 a bunch, especially the HD version. I don't think I've even installed the HD version on my computer once. I have it though, pretty much because I bought the bundle that was all of the Age of Empires in their HD versions, like all at once. But I believe there is a American Revolution campaign, and if there is, I don't think that it would show as many defeats that the Americans had as they did. Like, yeah, there was quite a few, like, big battles that the American forces won, but those were a lot fewer and far between than, like, a campaign would show. Like, there are definitely some that are like, hey, you need to survive with X amount of troops, or like, you need to get to this next point and have this number of troops left. But those campaigns don't happen as frequently. And if you had just a whole campaign of American Revolution where it's just, hey, survive, hey, also on this one you gotta survive, no one would really want to play it because it's not entertaining. If it's like only the final battle you win and everything else is just, hey, you need to survive with this amount of troops, hey, you're running away again, you need to survive with this amount of troops, you need to keep your hero unit alive, and that's it. Like, by the end of this battle, you need to have George Washington alive and 10 troops. 10 other troops plus George Washington must survive. Like, if that's all of your victory conditions, and that's a consistent victory condition throughout all of an American Revolution campaign, I don't think people really want to play that campaign anymore. Okay. So, like, changing up a few historical things. Like, I could see if they did a crossing the Delaware and attacking German troops or whatever on Christmas Eve, it would definitely be a use dynamic lighting kind of map. Like, you need to get across the Delaware before day breaks, before the light shines again. And if you don't, then the British, or the German troops, the German and British troops are going to be ready for you if you can't cross the Delaware before it's daytime. You've got 5 minutes to embark all your troops and get across. I could see that being part of a map. That would be relatively accurate, I guess. Not like fully accurate, but relative to the Battle Battle of Trenton, I believe. George Washington crossing the Delaware is Battle of Trenton, New Jersey. Yeah, I can remember my history. I am much better versed in American Civil War than I am American Revolution. Sorry. Trying not to burp out loud. It's causing me to also struggle to talk while inhaling air. Drinking carbonated beverages sometimes causes air to enter your esophagus more frequently than you would like. Okay, I've still got quite a lot of space for dirt. Alright, I've kind of stopped caring about this looking nice as I'm going through it, because I'm just going to remove all the dirt anyways. Alright. Yeah. Everything I was trying to say about playing different games and learning history of they don't teach you in schools is like, it's nice when you don't know the history and go into it with that knowledge of I don't know what's going on, because for the most part the game is going to show you relative truth, like the fights and the actual like peoples who are there are going to be relatively close to correct, but also the game itself can't have every single group of people who show up in this fight. Like Age of Empires is limited to 8 players. Now you could have a mod that would allow it to have 12 or 24 or whatever players in a map, but not every computer can handle that. So therefore the game itself will naturally just say, hey, there's only 8 people in this map, but this people group is represented doubly, so like the Mayans on this map are also the Aztecs, but we've got 12 different people because we're representing all of the Native American tribes from Christopher Columbus expansion or whatever, like exploring the New World and whatever, but they've only got 3 different tribes of Native Americans in the game. Well, they're gonna double up and be like, okay, well, so these guys are named differently, but they're using this tech tree because we don't have that other people group in the game. So like you just have to sit there and be like, okay, that makes some amount of sense. You're using a North American people group for different things, but like they've gone into the script and made the unique unit of the Cherokee different than the unique unit of the Cree that they've put in, but they're just reskinned Aztecs because there are very few, like there's the Incas, the Mayas, and the Aztecs. And that's it for at least Native American tribes in Age of Empires 2. So if they made a campaign that covered the exploration and expansion over all of America, all of the Americas total, they would have to do something like that of, hey, we reskinned this unit to be named differently, but it is actually, like, I don't know, like, the Cherokee are playing as the Spanish, but we've reskinned their unique unit to be the Conquistador. It's now a Comanche Raider, or whatever, and they've just changed the unit name for that map. Like, it's not historically accurate that they would be able to have all these other technologies that the Spanish have, like, but it is what the game files have made for this map because that's the alternative that they went with. But then that also means that they're using gunpowder units, because that's what the Conquistador is. But if you have just found them supposedly according to the scenario, then they shouldn't have gunpowder units because no one else has started trading with them to give them guns or taught them how to use them. So they've just, like, reskinned the Conquistador and, like, made the accuracy of it, of the unit, like 60% of what the regular one is. Or they've just gone, okay, well, they can't get, I think it's Parthian tactic. No, it's a thumb ring is the research that makes you 100% accurate. I'm trying to make sure I don't break my shovel. Especially because it's netherite, I don't want to make another one. And it's enchanted. I really don't want to make another one. But, like, if they made a campaign like that where you can't have every single Native American tribe, especially because there's only 3 Native American tribes in the game, they would have to have some amount of, hey, we changed this thing or that thing. It's just a reskinned version of this typical unit you would find. So if you know the counters to that unit, you're fine. That's the cave system we ended up at. I'm just going to repair this before I continue to talk. But yeah, like, I don't even remember what I started this conversation that I was having from. Historical accuracy in a video game. I think that's where I started from. Like, Age of Empires series of games tries really hard to be as historically accurate as possible. But they can't always be 100% accurate just due to limitations of they can't have every single people group in the game. Because, like, even modern day, there's 181 countries. I think it's higher than that now. But there's at least 180 countries in the world. And even among countries, there's plentiful, like a plethora of people groups inside of them. Like, North America has Canada, Mexico, and the US. But within the US, there's Native Americans, which are split up into 20 plus tribes of people, and Americans are not all just Americans as people groups. Like, So if you tried to like show that in a game, you would have so many problems because you just physically can't fit that many without mods. It would break people's computers. So like that's just the fun fact of historical accuracy in the game isn't always possible. Like, they will certainly try to be as historically accurate as possible, but just due to the limitations of the game itself, they can't be that accurate. Like, and then unless you know your actual history, like the Aztec campaign in Age of Empires and the Incas campaign and the Mayans campaign, all of those are close enough to truth that you could get by with. That would be like if you played that campaign and then went to take a history test on it, like instead of having instead of having Spanish conquering of Mexico, you could feasibly get by a little bit with just playing the Aztecs and Mayans campaign and going through it that way, but you would not be completely historical accurate. And then when you actually like take a test and sit down, you would get to some questions that you're just like, oh, well, it happened this way in the game, but actual truth is nowhere near. So like you can, like, if you played Age of Empires 2 Aztec campaign and tried to take a test on actual history, you would probably be able to get like a B on that test. You would do really well, but you wouldn't pass because there would be 20 out of the 100 questions that are just flat out wrong because you played the campaign instead of learned the actual history. But in like the Spanish campaign where you play as El Cid, that would get you probably a solid A. Like, you would probably get 90 to 100%. Because that is almost 100% facts. But it also leaves out a few individual things that, like, you would be close enough and probably be able to guess on the questions that you're like, the game didn't cover this, but you can figure it out from part 1 of the campaign started here, and part 2 is here. Something had to have happened in between. Context clues would lead me to believe that this is the answer. Whereas the Aztec campaign, you're like, oh, there was 20 to 30 years in between each of these. I have no idea what happened. Especially because it's not well documented. Mostly because the people who would have kept those documents either didn't survive or felt like burning everything. Like, Tenochtitlan or Mexico City now kind of got razed. Like, the buildings stuck around, but most of the stuff inside the buildings, especially gold and artifacts, got melted down and turned into gold because that's what the conquistadors cared about. So, like, a lot of those artifacts that would be from that time period are worthless because they just don't exist or got smelted. And because of that, you just don't have a lot of historical artifacts from that time period to be able to say, yes, this is exactly what happened. Like, there's no stone tablet that you could find in Persia for knowing that King Nebuchadnezzar made the first set of laws, or like written laws. You can't find like that artifact in Aztec culture because most of those artifacts were carried off and destroyed. Or maybe not destroyed, but very much just like changed from their original. This is almost repaired. Then we'll go back. And that's good enough. Crap. I just lost the cave system I was trying to save. Whatever. Yeah, zombies. There are 2 baby zombies over there. Are you gonna actually reach me before you burn? Yes, you are. Oh, I don't want to shoot that way. Not while the frogs could jump around. No creeper walking up behind me. We were able to repair the shovel just a little bit more. That's fun. It might actually be faster to go the straight lines across. Because otherwise I'm going down and then up again. I don't know why I felt like having a history talk, but I did, so that's what happened. But yeah, so everything that I just mentioned is all stemming from having a hopefully better way to stream some games in the coming weeks. Hopefully things can go better with streaming using a Steam Deck than having the actual what am I trying to sentence here? Hopefully by utilizing a Steam Deck and getting the capture card to work, which I don't even know if I'm going to be able to set that up correctly, but I will certainly try. It'll take a few times with trial and error to get it to function properly, but I have already looked up tutorials on how to get it set up and working. That does not mean that I'm going to be successful, but I've watched things that say how to put this together. So I hope that I can get it to work correctly. But we'll try, is at least the hope that it will go well. I will make an attempt to get it to work, and if it doesn't work, then, I mean, for most games, I still have it on my computer anyways. Like, like the Age of Empires campaigns. They're still on my computer, so we'll always be able to still play them that way. Plus, I'll definitely be playing on the Steam Deck by myself, just like off camera, to try and figure out the controls. Because it is a lot more like a console than it is a computer. It apparently does have like trackpad on the side to be able to use it that way as you would a computer, but that does not mean that I'm going to be able to function properly with it. And like, yeah, well, there's a little bit of lag, sometimes a lot of lag. But while there's a little bit of lag from playing on the computer and streaming the games, I'm hoping that a Steam Deck is going to make it so that there's very little to no lag. Because then my computer only has to focus on running the streaming gear. And then the Steam Deck itself has to run the game. So hopefully, just by being able to diversify what is needing to focus on what, it'll actually work. I know the Steam Deck has said that it's not been tested fully with like every single game. So like the Gemcraft ones, Gemcraft streams, it shows that it hasn't been tested with Frostborn Wrath to know whether it's fully compatible or whatnot. So like, that's one game that I don't think is going to matter too much whether it's compatible or not, because it's just a simple tower defense and it's got a pause button feature, and also being able to like, well, it's not, I don't think it's touchscreen. It might be touchscreen. If it is touchscreen, then I can always just click and like use the strike spells and whatever pretty easily just by clicking on the screen. But I don't think it is actually touchscreen. I know it has touch pads, but that doesn't mean it's touchscreen. So it probably doesn't have the number configurations to just be able to click 1, 2, and 3 for your strike spells, and then 4, 5, and 6 for your gem enhancement spells. But I'm assuming that other than having those key bindings, I mean, I could probably key bind them to whatever the XYZ, ABCD, whatever the 4 buttons are. But I'll work it out. I've got to make sure that the capture card actually functions before any of that even can happen, so I'm kind of skipping a step just mentally. But I think that's fine to just think about how to play the games that I would be playing. And if I have to stream a game on my computer because it's not functioning on the Steam Deck, or vice versa, then that's not a big deal either. But at least with the Steam Deck, it'll let me play other games that I haven't been able to stream or play even. Like, I can go back to playing the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. One of the reasons I haven't streamed that recently is because it just was starting to get laggy just on loading places, like to the point that I was spending 10 minutes of waiting for it to load before I could do anything. Like, Obviously that didn't happen as much during the stream, but there were still moments of like, okay, this is taking a while to load. Did it die on me? I'm glad I did not just say what went through my head of, I can parkour now. Immediately preceded by, I fell off and did not actually parkour there. Or I did not succeed in that one block jump. Okay. Oh, I can't make that because that's not a physical jump that you can do. Okay. It's always fun to me to see where the mountain used to be, just because of how I placed all the blocks down. Like, this used to be the highest point, and now it's not. Or like where I've cut the earth, that used to be the highest area. All of this going up and over doesn't matter anymore because I've chopped out all of this dirt. But, honestly, if I knew how to make a time lapse that like looked good, I would probably do something like that. Like, if I could edit together if I could do actual good editing of a video, I'd probably do a time lapse of tearing down all of this and just like putting it together to show you guys, and just like do most of this work of like mining the actual stone, do most of that off camera rather than spending all these streams on it. But because I don't have that technical know-how, I just kind of do all of this manually, and I'm streaming it because I want to prove that I'm actually doing it manually. Like, I know obviously the server doesn't have creative mode, or like the only time creative mode might have been used was when they built spawn. Not that I'm even live near spawn enough that you ever really see what spawn looks like, but just the ideas of, I know I'm not cheating. I know the server itself wouldn't let me cheat to do this, but sometimes I know it's also just boring. Like, if this is all you see, that definitely gets boring. So like, even myself, I would probably like to just have music going on in the background. Or like, I know when I'm not streaming and I feel like playing Minecraft, or like I'll end the stream but I don't really feel like stopping Minecraft, I just feel like ending the stream because I don't want to keep talking, I'll put on music and then I'll just keep working. But the music allows my brain to focus on other things. Like, streaming allows my brain to focus on something else while I'm doing this thing. And I like that a lot. Like, one of the... Okay, this is gonna sound really... maybe not stupid, but kind of odd. But one of the... word this. When I went to therapy for a little while, the therapist would hear me talk about other streamers that I would watch, and like I think it's maybe not well known, but definitely a fact that I took like something close to like 6 months in which I just wasn't streaming, and I didn't say anything about why until I came back from streaming, or came back from, I guess, hiatus. I didn't say anything about like the reason I had stopped streaming, but essentially it was just like work got really stressful and I wasn't okay because of it. But then having a therapist again, that therapist was like, hey, you very much like are talking about all these other streamers and like relating a lot of things to other streamers, and it sounds like you enjoy streaming, so why the heck did you stop? Why did you stop streaming? And so like that kind of was the catalyst of me going, oh yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I should go back to streaming. And I know I maybe not talked about it fully, but I touched on it a bit with when I did come back. But essentially it was just like, hey, you very much like streaming and like talking about streaming. Like, obviously I'm not doing like tremendously well or whatever with streaming. Like, I'm not getting paid to stream or whatever, but I still enjoy it. Part of it is it just allows me to focus on something. Like, I want to play a video game, okay, but in my own free time I don't feel like playing video games. I'd rather read or watch YouTube or sleep. Some of the sleeping is, I'm an insomniac. And catching up on sleep is sometimes just necessary. But I'm also depressed, so, or have depression, so that kind of correlates a bit too. Just not feeling like doing anything, so sleeping is something that feels productive but isn't. That's actually a common depression thing. Where was I going with that? I don't know. But the therapist talking was just like, hey, you very clearly like streaming and want to stream, so why, when you were feeling bad, did you stop streaming? Like, it is very much obviously a coping mechanism and a stress relief thing for you, so why did you stop? And like, that kind of was just like, oh yeah, maybe you're right, I should probably go back to doing that. So that's why I stream. But like, even when I'm not streaming and I still want to play a game, listening to music or listening to a live stream, like having that other thing that my brain can focus on allows me to focus on what I'm doing. It's like the server owner, I'll listen to her streams and then just jump on Minecraft and grind out tearing down these mountains and these hills and whatnot, because my brain is not really focusing, I guess, on what she is saying or what's on the screen, but it's allowing my brain to go, hey, I know what's happening there, I can listen, but I don't have to pay attention. Or like, if she asks something that I can answer, that's when my brain goes, oh hey, pay attention right now. I have an answer to the question that she just asked. Or I need to answer, I need to help out, whatever. And that's just kind of what I do. So even now with actually streaming, it's just a lot of like, okay, I want to do this thing. Like, Age of Empires. I want to play Age of Empires, but I don't feel like playing Age of Empires at the same time. So in order to get myself to actually play it, or like go through the campaigns, I stream it. Because I know if I didn't stream it, I would probably not touch the game in a while. Like, one of the only reasons I've played it recently off camera is just because I played it with a friend a little while ago, and I'm just trying to get better at it, I guess. I'm not a competitive, well, no, I'm a very competitive person. I'm not very good at the things that I like to be competitive about. Like, I hate losing, but I'm not, or I'm very competitive, I hate losing, but I'm not very good at the things that I'm competitive about. Like, for example, the easy thing I have about me being competitive is board games, but that's not the example I'm going to go with. Back in high school, for one of the classes I had to take, it was a PE class, physical education, for those who aren't used to American school systems. Essentially, we were playing indoor field hockey for that course's unit at the time. That was the main game that we were supposed to like learn the rules of and figure out how to play. And it was indoor field hockey because ice skates and things are dangerous, and therefore school system would not let you have. Also, maintaining and having an ice rink would be incredibly expensive. So just the school doesn't have that. All that to say, indoor field hockey. To start the game, you have 2 players in the middle, and the game starts at 3. So it's hockey 1, hockey 2, hockey 3, and you're supposed to like click the sticks together. So like team A and team B send 2 people to the middle, and then they do the hockey 1, hockey 2, hockey 3, and then you swing for the puck. And that's when the game starts. Well, the side of me that's competitive comes up when the person I was doing the hockey start against was one of my friends. And it's very much like, I'm more than likely autistic, or at least have some mental capacity that makes me hyper focus on a game where I can win, or I want to win type thing, and I don't like losing. Well, my friend cheated in that on hockey 2, going into hockey 3, they swung at the puck, so I wasn't ready for it because that's not when you're supposed to start. So I wasn't prepared to like defend against it. So they went earlier than they were supposed to. The competitive side of me kicked in. I normally play games with strategies involved, like capture the flag, capture the pin, whatever you want to call it. Those kind of games. Oh, I'm not playing, like, yes, I know I'm relatively speedy. I can do a decent sprint, like time frame wise, like the running a mile, I could do that in 5 minutes type thing, which is decently fast for someone who never really exercises. Like, not physically exercise, but like work, I walk around a bunch. But that's not really like running exercise or like lifting weights exercise. But I am probably not the most physically fit, but I can still sprint pretty decently and run pretty well. At least in high school. But the important thing was my friend went before we were supposed to and cheated. I typically play strategy rather than brute force. When my friend went off and cheated in that capacity, something in my brain just snapped. And I went, okay, that's how we're going to play. You're not going to best me like this. I'm going to win. And for the first time ever in class, my teacher got to see me try and brute force something, which is not something I ever do. Like, the teacher had figured out, especially from when we play Capture the Flag type games, that I am much more of the strategic thinker and like playing defense, and I'm not the aggressive person. I'll play support more than I'll play aggro. And I snapped. That's the easy phrasing. I missed. I forgot to unshift to actually make that jump. For the game, I went... So it's teams of 11. I took the puck when it got back to me. I took the puck and I went for the goal by myself. And as far as I can remember, I tried to score, I think, 4 or 5 times. By the 5th attempt, I did not have a floor to stand on. I was standing on everyone else's sticks because I got swarmed. And that's the first time I have, like, tried to brute force a win or scoring a point because I was ticked off. And that does not normally happen in games for me. Normally, I'm the person who's like, okay, pass it to this person who's really good at being accurate or whatever. No, I did not share. I went, I am going to score this. No one is going to stop me. And I'm going to win. And my teacher could tell that I was upset because that's the only time ever that I've attempted to do that. All the other times of playing games, it is very much, this is a team game, I'm going to be a team player. I'm going to give it to the actual, like, football player who's capable of taking a hit and, like, running quickly or whatever. No, this time playing field hockey was very much the, I'm going to do this and no one's going to stop me. Like, I think it's the only time that anyone in my class was like, okay, something's wrong. But it was fun. Essentially, that day I took the puck and went all the way to their goal and tried to score. And I missed. And then I chased down the puck, got it back, and tried to score again. And by that point in time, I had 4 people around me. And then I went and tried to score again. And by the end of, like, our group trying to go and score or whatever, everyone had swarmed me so that I couldn't score. I was not accurate. I was not precise. I was not getting that puck into the net. But I was trying. And by the end of it, the teacher was like, okay, as soon as someone else scored, because there was 30-something people in the class, we had broken into 3 different teams. She had gotten my group out of the field so that I could cool down because I was so unbearably upset. And she's like, that's the only time I've seen you snap. Like, that's the definite first time I've seen you, like, get mad and angry in a game. because that's the only time you have not tried to like use a strategy or pass it to someone else. Like, I typically play defense. That's like my strong suit, is just watching the whole field and figuring out where to send the ball, or the puck in this case. That was the first time that I was the person who was like, no, I'm scoring and no one is stopping me. I didn't score and it took everyone to stop me. Like, that's how much my teacher was like, okay, something's wrong. You don't ever do that. What the heck happened? So like that's the main, like, I am a competitive person, but I'm not a good person when it comes to like athletics. Also, back then I had a lot more like anger issue type stuffs, but that mostly stemmed from like having siblings. You know, the typical, like, the sibling is poking you and is like, I'm not gonna stop until you do something for me or whatever, or I make you stop. I was the kid who was like, okay, well, you're not stopping, so I'm going to make you stop, because I've asked you a few times to stop and you have chosen not to. Now you're being forced to stop. And then I'm the one who gets in trouble because I forced them to stop, which is not the greatest of options. But I was a kid, so I did not make the best decisions all the time, as children do. But yeah, that's the first and only time my teachers ever have seen me like upset over a game. Because for the most part, I'm very much just the, okay, that happens, sure, whatever. I don't care enough. But that was the first time that's like, no, I care way too much right now. I think I have finished tearing down all of the dirt. This is y equals 90. This is y equals 90. Oh, nope, I stand corrected, there's dirt right here. And as it's above my head, it's definitely not y equals 90. Yeah, okay, there's a lot. I overshot that. Okay, let's sleep before monsters appear. Yeah, so that's me saying I'm competitive, but maybe not athletic. Like, I do the same thing with board games. It's like, I want to win a board game, but I'll still do it strategically. Unless brute force is the only answer to whatever board game we're playing, I tend to play strategically. Sometimes the best strategy is brute force. Rarely is a strategy for a game go through it. That guy scared me for a second. Wasn't expecting monsters. Alright, where's the rest of your pillager crew? I do live near a village, so I don't want pillagers. the heck did you come from? Like, what? You're not down here. Is that the only piece of dirt? Oh, okay. This is 94. This is 90. Okay. I don't know where all the pillagers came from. Or, well, where the one pillager came from. He wasn't the captain. Maybe they fell into the cave. I should just get a bucket of water or something and go down the whole field that way, I guess. Okay, if this is going to be 90, where I build all of that up, I'm just going to slowly make this caged off that way. Okay, I need to find where these pillagers are before they cause problems for me later. Because it should be 3 of them total. 1 captain, 2 regulars. And right now this village does not have an iron golem. But it begs the question of how did that one aggro on me? Where did the pillager come from? This is like a genuine question now. I don't see them down in the cave. So much of this mountain is going to get removed. Did the pillagers spawn, like, only one of them up above the cave and the rest in the cave? Doesn't look like it. This is 80. So this should be 90. Okay, so this is where we're going to start mining, I guess. Okay, I'm just going to mine straight through. Where I'm at is 89. So this is 90 again. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna have to mine this whole place down. I'm gonna pick up the iron. I heard something, but I have no idea what it was. Okay, let's go back up to that top area and mine it down. Oh, all of these have full dirt. Okay. This is still too high, but for now, we'll do that. And then this first one gets to have all this dirt. I'll keep enough for 6 stacks of dirt. Nope, I need to have the chests on over here. Let me just be dumb and fall right into that. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna find y equals 90 again. And we'll go from there. There is still some dirt, but it's inside of areas, so I'm not going to be able to get to it immediately. Okay, digging straight down over a cave system is not going to be good. So let's go this way and staircase. Okay. 10, 109, 108, 107. Six, 105, 104, 103, 102. Let's go grab that bed. Maybe not. The bed should probably stay where I'm at. It's just so far away now. Okay. I'm gonna get the outer edge all mined down to y equals 90. And then we'll call it there. Yeah, I'll leave the bed. It's fine. It's gonna be okay. I don't need to have the bed on me the whole time. Okay. Two, 101, 100, 99, 98, 97, 96, 95, 94, 93, 92, 91, 90. Yeah, that's what I kind of expected. So this is the edge of it. And then I just go this way all the way to the outside. I need another spot for coal. Okay. I like the Minecraft music playing in the side. Yeah. So this is y equals 90. And as expected, it goes right through the cave system. This diagonal part is going to end up like floating over this zone. I'm realizing that now. Okay. Let's just go this way. Alrighty. This is still not equals 90. 106, okay. But this will let me basically I'm just going to tear down all the way to 90 on both ends. And this will just let me go there quicker. Because having everything above where I'm at, especially over here, all of this will have to get removed anyways. So I figure while I'm doing that on the other side, I may as well just do it now. Like, I have to carve the other side down to y equals 90 anyways. Yeah. Hi, pig. You'll probably die from fall damage if you choose to stay there and I mine the block that's underneath you. Okay, you're down. Cool. So yeah, this will just let me tear everything down to y equals 90. And then we'll call it there. Getting this outside edge all the way to 90 means that I'll be able to flatten everything else inside with relative ease without accidentally going too far. I want to make sure not to vein mine that accidentally. So if I vein mine the coal, sometimes that's just going to end up being underneath me as well, like this. And that could cause problems if I'm not paying attention. But also, I like having some of it up against the walls. I know I'm not going to keep the walls, but I at least like the aesthetic of having the exposed minerals in the walls until I have to destroy the walls themselves. Okay. All right. There was some stone overhead. I thought there was because it looked like it was getting darker suddenly. Hi, pig. Whoa. You tricked me. I thought there was more space before there was a fall, but the pig blocked my view. It's an evil pig. It's a very evil pig there. Tricked me and made me fall off a cliff. Thankfully, I don't break my legs very easily. Even IRL, I've never broken a bone. I've definitely like sprained something before, but I've never broken something or fractured anything. Or like had a severe amount of pain about bones and that I needed to go to the doctor for it. I definitely had a moment, like probably a month or so ago, where there was a relatively bad blizzard that went through and froze quite a lot of the area. And one of the crosswalks I have to walk over, did not mean to do that. Whatever. I'm gonna delete that part anyways. Just over time. One of the crosswalks I have to walk over is fairly rounded, just to like prevent water from staying on there and whatnot. But because of how bad the ice storm was, or the weather and whatnot, it was rather slick. And I got over the first half of it relatively well, and then the second half of it was like solid ice, so I slid down the other side of it, and landed on like my back and my arm. Like, I fell on my butt, but I have a phone and wallet and things in my back pocket anyway, so I didn't like land severely hard on myself. But the way I caught myself with my like arm and wrist going backwards kind of jarred me to the point that it hurt quite a bit. So for a little bit there, I was under the impression of I might have broken something, but not enough that it like was causing me to cry or like severe pain or whatever. So I thought I hurt my wrist initially, and then going to work the next day, I have to lift a lot of things at work, and because of how much lifting I was doing, I'd realized that the back part of my elbow, like where your arm bends, the upper muscle area, the biceps, triceps area, I think it's the bicep, is the internal, like if you hold your arm at your side, the bicep's the one on the inside part, so whatever the outer muscle side, that part of my elbow was hurt, and lifting things that way hurt like crazy. So I thought that maybe I had like definitely not shattered my bone, but definitely like bruised myself in some capacity. And I basically went, if it still hurts after having 2 days off, because it was coming upon my normal days off, if it still hurt after having my typical days off, then I was going to go to the doctor, but see about getting x-rays at that point. But based off of, I still have never had a broken bone, you can kind of tell that it didn't keep hurting. I've never broken anything, I've never fractured something, I've only ever like twisted or sprained something, but never to the point of lasting injury or like needing to fix up my bones. Whereas like my brother and my younger sister have both broken bones. Although for my younger sister, it was more like a air bubble popped inside of her bone that should not have been there anyways. Your bones are not meant to have pockets of air in them. So like when she landed awkwardly after a fall, the air pocket finally like was pressurized enough that it burst outwards through the bone. So like I guess technically in that case she probably was close to having like osteoporosis type stuff, but it didn't shatter her bone, it just cracked like to the outer edges of her bone. If I'm remembering correctly, this was years ago. Like, I want to say I was in middle school and she was in elementary. So like, ages and ages ago. but she's broken a bone because of that. But I still have not. Even though in my family, they always thought that I would be the one to break a bone first, or to break someone else's bone first. Which I don't know why that was the thought process necessarily, but I've never broken a bone or broken someone else's bone, so... Well, at least not that I'm aware of. I guess there's always a chance I've broken someone else's bone and just never known about it. And maybe that person even didn't know about it. I don't know. It's not like I get in fights and therefore break bones all the time, so... I've never paid attention to that. I highly doubt I've broken someone else's bone. But I guess it is technically possible. Like, accidentally running into someone could theoretically break someone's bone, but I guess I can say I've never intentionally broken someone's bone. That's probably the most accurate way to phrase it. I've never intentionally broken someone's bone. It is technically possible that I unintentionally broke someone's bone. But yeah, I don't know what my thought process was before that. '96, '95, '94, '93, '92, '91. I don't even know what I was saying to get to that topic now. Oh, I fell off of a thing because of the pig. That's what got me to go to the... That's what got me to think about breaking bones. The pig pushed me off. Maybe I should just slaughter the pig, but I really don't care enough right now. Well, that could have hurt a lot more. Really gotta be glad it didn't, but that could have hurt a lot more. I don't want to mine around this. I believe I can just walk behind it. Yep, okay. Cool. I saw that flash of the world loading over there and I thought that it was a creeper for a second trying to explode. Is it nighttime? Nope, not yet. Okay. I'll walk all the way back then. Looks like it's becoming night. Yep, that tracks. Alright, I think it's going to be nighttime by the time I get over there, because I'm going around the mountain. Now I have the "She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain" song in my head right now. A lot of jumping, a lot of jumping. There we go. Now we're back up here. Now it is definitely nighttime. There we go. Okay. Should just be one more go around with the pickaxe. Maybe two more. Let's go down to y equals 90. And then we'll go back to mining. I cannot reach that whole top area. And my earbud is going to die, so we're going to swap to the other one. There we go. Let that one charge. There. Now we're right ear dominant. I've got quite a ways to go before I fall. Okay. Just gotta be careful not to fall. Still quite a distance. There's the sunlight. Okay. That's the part that I can't reach. So we're just gonna leave it there. part to be careful about. I think that just fell into the, not the void, but into the okay. I'm gonna have to fall from above to land on that to mine it out. I'm going to have to. That's about the only way I can reach it. Okay. Just this section going this way, and then we'll jump back over to that side. And then everything should be good. Alright. Wasn't expecting to accidentally break that part. Okay, this is almost done. I think you can kind of tell that I'm getting a little bit tired of doing the same repetitive thing. At least a little bit, you can probably tell. I've started talking less. Which is not entirely intended, but it's definitely the unintended consequence of doing the same thing over and over and over. But hey, when this is done, we will have only one more castle to level out. And that won't be flattening, that'll be raising more than anything. I mean, there will be a little bit of flattening, but I think it's only like 2 or 3 levels. Yeah, so the only other area that needs fixing up after this, I mean, I'll need to raise this section. I'll need to flatten like 2 or 3 layers of dirt over there at the upper end. And then I need to raise that middle section a little bit more. And I'll need to raise over there. And that'll be pretty much it for the Purple Castle. Like, it's relatively all at the same level. It's just faster to go this way, I guess. No, let me just go this way, I guess. Not parkouring this. Okay. So this is all torn down. Like 90% capacity for the drop. did not fully mean to do that, but that's okay. Oh, there's another section. Let's just bridge over. And then I'll tear this down. It includes the bridging I just did. But once this is all removed, then we will be 100% done on the outermost layers to know exactly where level y equals 90 is. There we go. Now the outer edge, we will always know where y equals 90 is at. Alright. And this does cut exactly through that entire cave system, just like I thought it would. Alright. Let's just tear down all this so I can get rid of the dirt in my inventory as well. That's y equals 90 all the way through in every single capacity of that word. Of that particular word, of those words. Okay, now to get back up to the bed. Because obviously the bed isn't at y equals 90. A little bit of me wishes I had made it y equals 90 for the bed, but I still needed to get over here. Okay. Oh, stretching after all of that. Fun. Okay, I leave one piece of diorite on in my inventory to keep getting more diorite. I'm gonna have to tear down all that anyways. Did not mean to do that. There we go. And so that's stone. Alrighty. Well, now the rest of this is just tearing it down to the y equals 90 and then lowering and raising all of this side up, lowering all of this side down. Yeah, this was the platform I thought I would start off with, but this is now just kind of in the way. That's okay. Quartz is really easy to break. But yeah, so all I've got to do is flatten like 3 or 4 layers of dirt over there and raise the rest on these sides particularly, and a little bit on those sides. And then I've got to lower all of this stone down to y equals 90 and actually build out the sections, raise that up to y equals 90 as well, and go from there. But I think that was really productive today. We succeeded on a lot of this. For safety reasons, I will go back to the house. which is really the throne room. But yeah, I think we've made quite a bit of progress today, and I am really happy with that. So I think I'm going to end it there, because it's not quite 2.5 hours, but close enough. Close enough to level, to 2.5 hours. Well, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I need to remember what I'm doing on Friday. Yeah, Friday, not tomorrow. Friday is Age of Empires. We're gonna finish the Rajendra campaign. That's what it is. Even if I have the Steam Deck by then, I don't think I'm gonna try and do Age of Empires on the Steam Deck. Might try the Gemcraft stream on Saturday, just because that'll be an easier game to figure things out with the capture card and all that, and figuring out how that's supposed to work. Otherwise, because I'm not streaming on Sunday, I might just play with the Steam Deck and capture card and try and figure it out more that day. But actually, now that I'm ending, I'm gonna go see if that has come in the mail today yet. I don't believe it has, but never hurts to go check. But yeah. So at least next week, if I don't do it on Friday is Age of Empires 2, doing the Rajendra campaign, starting at the same time that today's was, and then Saturday will be Gemcraft. Because it is spring break, I have a lot more time to stream, so therefore we're doing Gemcraft on Saturday when more people can watch it, as that's the most popular series, I guess, that I have. But I will stop rambling and bid you all adieu. Hope you have a good day, a good evening, a good afternoon, a good night, and a good morning, and a good time zone wherever you are. Hope to see you Friday. And peace out.